thank you for waiting. GSLI is the connecting piece for expanding or
Hey,
relocating
Patrick.
companies
Welcome.
to site locations across the U.S. For over 25 years, Global Site Location Industries has provided site selection and economic development services for thousands of companies. Have you attended one of our Prospect Live events? Hundreds of communities sit in on our discussions with the decision makers of job-creating projects. Communities and executive teams praise the ease of our site selection process from both perspectives. So we welcome you to join us for the next event.
All right, guys. We've got about 4 minutes until we go live. We will go live straight up at 1 o'clock. I want to do a couple sound checks. See some great communities in here. Hey, Mary. Hey, Lee. Hey, oh my gosh, we got so many communities in here today. It's exciting. Hey, Patrick. Hey, Raphael. Lee, Lauren. Excellent. If somebody could in the chat box, go ahead and type in, I can hear you and see you so we can get confirmation. Wow, I'll take that as a compliment, Patrick. Great, Raphael. Thank you, Jillian. Perfect. All right, I'm going to go off camera. We will be back in about 3 minutes.
Expanding or relocating your business can be inefficient and costly. That's why companies turn to Global Site Location Industries to assist in their search. Better yet, our site location services are at no cost to you. They're confidential and completely unbiased. We offer expert guidance through the critical site selection process, all to help create jobs for our local communities. Expanding or relocating facilities? Ask us how we can help you efficiently and cost-effectively navigate finding the right location.
GSLI's Lighthouse AI is transforming the way economic development professionals are identifying and landing projects for their community. Ask Mike Running, Economic Development Director of Dumas, Texas. Mike landed Life Abundance, a custom pet food distributor that will create a $4.4 million impact on their local economy and provide their community with 10 new jobs and growing. Whether your population is less than 15,000 or more than 1 million, GSLI's Lighthouse AI is your answer to increased time and relationships.
All right, guys, we are about 2 minutes from go time. And yes, Doug, you are from Snyder, Texas. Welcome. Excited to have you here today. So yeah, just sit back, see everybody still flowing in. So we will give them 2 more minutes before we get this show on the road. So be right back.
One new job created in your community creates a trickle-down economic impact of over $550,000 in 7 years. GSLI's minimum project guideline requirements are to create at least 10 new jobs for a community. Simple math shows you how landing just one of our identified projects can make a big difference in your community. Visit www.gsliprojectportal.com to view projects of ours looking for a new site to call home.
GSLI's Site Location Network is an exclusive group of trusted communities around the country that assist projects on the move. Our community assessment directors are constantly identifying communities that can help the over 100 projects annually that need new locations and employees. Talk to one of our community assessment directors today and see if you can be the next addition to our portfolio of great communities.
Want to see GSLI's team in action? Attend one of our 6 trade shows. Each year, we work 6 of the best trade shows.
All right, guys, it is 1 o'clock and we are going to get rocking here. All right, so I am really excited about today's show. We have a very innovative company that we've been working with and helping kind of start taking a look at where they want to expand or relocate their businesses. It's called Project 3D print, and it's coming off the heels of an excellent master series we just got through, and another prospect live that came right behind that. So we're excited to present these and help these companies in their expansion and relocation process. Today's goals, we're going to meet in our GSLI team. We're going to do an overview of the project. We're going to meet the project, and then we're going to go through, as always, our Q&A, and that's going to give you your opportunity to ask any questions that you have of the project. You might be asking, should you be here? There's a lot of attendees in here from around the country. We have a lot of communities here that are our clients and what we call our elite cities, and we're excited to have them here. We have some trial communities, some communities that are outside of our elite cities alliance, but they're taking a look at how we operate, how we work with prospects, and if they're good matches for their communities and if they should be participating in our group. And we have some observing companies and site locators. I see a couple of them there, and they are projects that we've been talking to, and they kind of want to see how the process works and understand how it can efficiently help them in their site selection process, getting the word out and identifying good matching communities. We've also got observing communities. These are just ones that there isn't a good match with this project, but they want to learn. They want to see what makes projects tick and understand what they're about. We're going to throw up a poll here. I want to find out, is this your first Prospect Live event? And this is crazy good. A ton of brand new attendees here. We've got some that have been here 2 to 4. We've almost got 50% of the communities here have been here with more than one. And we got some long-standing ones here at 20% that have been here for more than 5. We can keep that poll up a little bit longer. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide, but you can drop it in a couple of minutes. Some housekeeping items. Should you come on and accidentally unmute yourself, please make sure that you are muted. We don't need to hear any potato chips cracking in the background. If you have a pertinent question or a pertinent need, you can raise your hand. There's a little button, and that can notify me that you need some attention, and we can decipher at that point, do we want to ask the question or save it for the Q&A? There is a Q&A button at the bottom of your, or on your panel bar or your menu bar. Use that to ask questions, and ask them as they come up so you don't forget about them. They will just simply go into the queue, and when we get to the Q&A section, we will go through those in order and make sure everybody's questions are answered. And a reminder, we are recording this, and we will be sending out a recording so you can review this when putting together your submission for any specific details. Who's with us today? Of course, myself, Eric Klein, CEO and Chairman of Global Site Location Industries. Been doing this for 27 years, and it always excites me when we're talking with companies that are going to create jobs and the economic impact that they make for these communities and help them grow. We've got Ashley Kleinsword. She is my daughter, and has been with us a little over 2 years now, and is the person in the trenches, communicating, talking, researching, finding these prospects, and then on the backside, working with other team members here to get the information from the communities to the prospect, and questions from the prospects back to the communities, and really works as a coordinator. It is a full-time plus job. Robert, he is the CEO. We're glad to have him today. And Sean, he is the VP of Manufacturing Operations, and I've had the opportunity and joy of talking with Sean and learning more about the project myself. Want you guys to mark your calendars. I'm going to throw up a poll. Are you going to IEDC? We're going to be there October 3rd through 4th. It's in Nashville. Opportunity to sit down with us and talk about the projects specifically, but not only that, we've got 67 other projects that we're working with right now that are active, that you can sit down and we can talk about and learn about your communities and see how those projects align up. We are doing a rooftop bar crawl. If you're going to be there, go to your WhatsApp or Hoova, I think it's called, app, and look up the bar crawl, Rooftop Bar Crawl, and go ahead and RSVP. And do come by the booth. We're doing corporate headshots for free. We've hired an amazing photographer, Mary, who will be there and providing headshots. And who doesn't need an updated LinkedIn shot, corporate headshot, staff box shot, or anything? So those will be given to you guys at no charge. And looks like several people are coming, so excited to see you there. A little bit about GSLI. We are a site location consulting firm that works with communities and expanding companies. We are an exclusive group, so we work with an exclusive number of communities per state, and we consider that network our site selection team. So when we're working with the project, we introduce them to these cities, and then from there, we start from the grassroots level and work outward in helping these companies find their locations. Communities in the network do get to work at least one project per year. If our network of communities can't handle their needs, we'll go outside to make sure that the company is satisfied and working with the right communities. And they get to do that once per 12 months. They get to submit on one of the projects. So if you're a new community and this is a good alignment, we'd love to have you submit and work with our project today. We've been busy. And my staff keeps reminding me to keep adding to these numbers, but we're going to say this is for the first 27 years. We've identified 2,125 projects. 53,000 jobs have been created from those projects. 6.3 billion, and that's with a B, in total capital investment, and 31.8 million total square feet have been secured by those projects. And that's growing. I'm looking at putting on the next Prospect Live what we've done just this year, and it's pretty phenomenal. Active projects currently, and I said 67 because some of those have become landed since our last Prospect Live, and we've got to keep these updated, but it's a rolling number. We'll land 2 and add 6 more. So it's a moving target how many active projects we have, but they can all be viewed in the backbone of our company. It's called the GSLI project portal. And that's where you go in and work the projects, get the updates, submit on the projects, keep your notes, and that's where you'll submit to any one of our projects. And that starts the communication flow between the community and the company. Quick project overview. Project 3D Print. They are on a super fast time frame. They need a 200,000 square foot facility. Talked a little bit about this with Sean. They probably most likely would like to find the perfect pre-existing building that they can lease. The time frame, they are on a 1 to 3 month time frame to get this process on the road. Is that too big a challenge for us? I don't think so. We've had a company that we just located from Barcelona. They gave us 3 weeks. But this is a very accelerated time frame. So getting us your information quickly is pertinent. They will be employing 200 jobs year 1, 100 to 150 in capital investment, 150 million in capital investment, and their search is national. They do have some initial targets in areas, but they are not limited to the areas that they can consider for their manufacturing facility. This is time where I'd like to bring on Ashley and whoever identified the project and has been communicating with them to give some insight how we engaged and found it. And if you can take some of these ideas of how we engage back to your own efforts as a community, we always feel that's helpful. So Ashley, if you could come on board.
Yeah, so I first of all want to thank Robert and Sean for being here with us today. Very busy people doing a lot of things at once. So them carving out this time is obviously very important to us, and we're glad to have them here. But I came across an article, as I was prospecting online, and it was about their company and their future plans. And obviously I became extremely interested in learning more about it. So at that point, I reached out to Robert on LinkedIn to make a connection with somebody from their team. And he introduced me to Sean very shortly after. So we had a couple meetings and we really decided that, the best way for us to get this project kicked off would be a Prospect Live event. And, we're extremely excited to have them here so they can teach you all more about their project and their needs. Sean and Robert have been so seamless to work with. Always appreciate that. So hopefully after today, we'll be able to identify some great sites for them to consider.
Awesome. Thank you. So now we're going to go into the Q&A section. And these are some questions that have been submitted by communities and typically ones that we like to get out on the table to help you guys make good submissions. When you go into the Q&A box and if you start asking questions, please provide your name and location, ask your question, and that way, whenever we talk with the project, they can kind of get a sense of where you are located. At this time, if we could go ahead and have you come on, Sean and Robert.
We are on. Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depends on where you are. This is Robert Bigari. You can actually turn. Okay.
And Sean, are you there also?
Yes.
I see you now.
Nice to speak with you folks. How are you doing?
Absolutely. So welcome. Thank you. I know you guys, you've had to shift a couple things today to make this happen, and we truly appreciate that. So we will go through these questions as seamless and efficient as possible. And, we just can't thank you for the time you've spent with me the other day and with Ashley over the last couple of weeks. It's been truly helpful, and we're excited about your project. But why don't you just, first of all, give a kind of paint a picture for our listeners of what your project is all about and what the end product is going to be whenever you finally make a site location decision.
Great. Eric, thank you very much. Eric and Ashley, thank you very much for this opportunity to chat with some folks around the country here. It's a privilege to talk to speak with all of you that I don't know who they're out there yet, but thank you for the opportunity here. What Project 3D is about is we are building a platform. We like to call it, we are a platform company. We're building a machine that's going to build a lot of other little machines. And those little machines will be things like battery, for example, a battery that doesn't catch fire. They can go into your cell phone or into your car, into your home, or any type of devices that you may have battery in today. So that's our very first project. And we, of course, because its platform is agnostic in terms of products that it could build, it could produce. So we can really deal with any type of products. The opportunity and the potential of this platform is huge. It's quite frankly beyond imagination because what we're doing with this platform, we're going to change manufacturing as we know it. We call it a machine that can help transform digital or transform manufacturing as we know it, and also help bring it home, because we call the platform Agile Factory. This machine allows our customers wherever they are to build a quick factory with it, build whatever product they want to build with it, and then procure the material for it locally rather than having to rely on third parties or third countries. Again, the machine can build any type of products, and also the supply chain shrinks quite a bit. If you look at some of the products today that are built, whether they're going to our computers or at home or whatever, sometimes they take weeks and months to procure various form of the material, and a raw material, and then in some process to various stages, and then eventually assemble it all together. Those things usually take months. Our platform allows our customers to take raw material, powder, and turn it into like a micro reactor. This is a device that goes into, like, if you want to do COVID-19 testing, it's a disposable device. And this thing takes 16 weeks to build. So you can build this thing within hours with our platform. So it's a very, it's a big, I want to say it's a very ambitious project. First of all, we've been at it for 5 years. We've done quite well so far, and we've gone out with some proof of concept, some samples, prototype to our customers around the world, and now we're ready to expand. So I stop there if that's enough for now, Eric.
That's perfect. So when we're working with companies like yourselves, there's always some motivation, whether or not it's access to certain markets that they don't have current access to, or meeting customer demands, or meeting a industry demand. What would you say the key motivations for this project and expansion are?
So the key motivation, as I kind of try to say from the outset here, 5 years ago when we started this company, by the way, this is the 8th startup that I'm associated with, very, very lucky, and working with a lot of smart people. So after our last successful exit, the motivation was to go build something here that could really change or transform manufacturing as we know it. And so it is a very unique approach. It's a very different in how you may know a lot about the other 3D printing companies. We're not anything like any of them that are out there. We're really the only company on the planet that can build active devices. So the motivation was to give our customers something that can help control their own supply chain destiny, but also be able to or help unlock opportunities for them to develop, prototype, and then mass produce the product all with the same machine in the same location.
Awesome. So in terms of, we've got a lot of communities out there with available buildings, available sites and things like that. And, they're trying to kind of eliminate themselves. Am I a good match for this company? Should I be submitting? What would you say the must-haves in an existing facility are, whether or not it's size, whether or not it's electrical needs, access to materials? What are your must-haves?
Yeah, I'll let Sean
Sure.
answer that.
Absolutely. So with regards to the facility, the main things that really is driving our decision making here is the infrastructure requirements of the building itself, the facility itself. So electrical is very, very important. Obviously, the amount of power required to run the facility with all the HVAC and so on is critical. Fortunately, with our product, our platform, the energy consumption is significantly less than conventional manufacturing for the markets that we serve. But overall, we do want to have a facility that has the proper electrical. We need the facility needs to be outfitted with the ability to run various gases in the process so that we can run the equipment that we have. But also that's at the facility level. What we really do want to have also is a close proximity to major ports of import, so that we don't, so that we can minimize the greenhouse gas emissions that are created in carbon footprint for transportation of the supply chain. That isn't a make or break, but it is a consideration we're making.
Now, I do remember you talking with me something about, and it's kind of a new term to me, but if someone out there had an existing facility with what you called a dry room, could you explain the dry room and what your needs are in that?
Sure. So similar to many other technology businesses, we have some of our materials. They need to be in a dry room so that we can maintain the integrity of the reliability of the product in the manufacturing process. So the dry room itself is similar to a clean room, but what it does is actually cycle the air to maintain a particular dew point, a particular moisture level in the room itself, such that it doesn't affect the reliability of the product.
Perfect. And as you explained, you kind of have to have shorter shifts on that, right? Or rotations of shifts.
That is correct. Yeah, there is definitely a human impact. Obviously, by maintaining the minimum, almost to a point of zero humidity in a room, that does have an impact on the personnel and the team members that we have. So there will be rather frequent shift changes by different teams on a particular shift, so that we can ensure the health and safety of our team members.
Perfect. So that goes into our next question. And I see that the questions got kind of scrambled in terms of numbers, but that's all right. In terms of the breakdowns of shifts or jobs, can you kind of give us an idea? We were talking about 200 jobs. What's kind of the breakdown of the job type in terms of what the skill set, and what are some of the salaries that you anticipate for the employees of this facility?
Sure. So for year one, again, expectation is year one is going to be around 200 or so individuals. And it's going to entail the whole gamut between operators that's going to be running on the factory floor, technicians, engineers, quality control and quality and reliability team members, and ultimately the administrative side. And as our business expands, we also intend on adding more engineering capability on site at the factory as well. We will retain our headquarters in the city that we're in, but again, we will be incorporating engineering along with all the other manufacturing related positions and requirements at the factory itself, wherever we decide the factory to be.
Perfect. In terms of the special requirements, you kind of talked about that already. Have you already taken an interest, or have you already expressed an interest in any parts of the country? So if I'm a community not in that particular area, I know what I'm competing against, or are you open-minded about pretty much anywhere in the country?
Sure. Excellent question there, Eric. Quite honestly, we're very open to where the facility could reside. Obviously, proximity to major ports is helpful, but again, it's not a deal breaker. But yeah, so we're very open to where the facility could reside.
But I also add to that, Eric, the area where there are, hopefully there are good schools available there, universities that we can collaborate with, and access to a skilled workforce, right, at all levels that Sean talked about.
Yeah, and I will tell you that is the going concern or growing need all across the country is workforce. Every project we need or we've been working with are some of the locations are basically because of workforce. They have to relocate to tap into a whole new workforce because they've tapped out the workforce in their current location. So really respect that and understand that. So look forward to getting you any kind of workforce studies that'll help you guys kind of determine where a good location is. Are there any clusters? Do you like, in terms of this, is this a type of facility you want to locate near some existing industry clusters to draw upon a already educated workforce, or clean slate fine?
Either one is good. I mean, certainly if we are in a cluster of other companies, which themselves are a good sort of source of attracting talents. Obviously, we like to be there too, because it means a lot of people are already working there, and a lot of people have already planned their lives around that area, geographically speaking. So yes, we don't mind if we are part of a big industrial complex or park there, or if depends on, again, what location, what city, what state. We also don't mind if we start with a clean slate too. So either way, it's fine.
Okay, perfect. In terms of training assistance, helping companies look at various states, they kind of differ, from state to state, but they all offer some type of training assistance program. How important is a solid training assistance program that they'll either partner you with the college and put together the programs for you, use your own staff, do it there. There's a big variety. How important do you feel the training of your employees is going to be?
Oh, that's very important. That's really very critical. That's why I asked or mentioned the point about access to schools that are in the area, schools that are involved in the community, working with the companies. Community of companies. Right? They're working with the different companies there to help train workforce and bring. Certainly, one of the things we do here, we're very big on hiring college grads. Because we all remember that years ago we were college grads ourselves. Yep. So we believe in giving opportunities. So places where either the city, or whatever form of government that we may be working with, dealing with, or areas, if they do have these kinds of training programs, budgets in place, obviously we appreciate that very much. We prefer to go to places like that. Where there is a deliberate effort in getting the workforce ready for the next generation, if you will, as you know, the technology is ever changing so fast. So the workforce needs to keep up with it. So the places that really do have programs for that, it's something we prefer. We like to be in that area, and so take advantage of that. Of course, we're always open to collaborate with the local officials and people that are there to see how we can train people together, because it takes both of us. It's not just a one-sided effort here.
Yeah. What colleges did you go to? I might need to see if you're a rival or not.
Well, I went to, after I graduated from washing dishes, I went to Miami-Dade Community College, and I went to Florida Atlantic University. Then I came to California, also went to UC Berkeley. And so those are the places I've been. And also, actually, I did a sort of a remote with Cleveland Institute of Technology that had an office at the time in Fremont 40 plus years ago.
You are a little bit of a rival. Florida Atlantic University just played Texas Tech, so.
Yes. And I'm still a Floridian, if you will. I still root for University of Miami, for FAU, for FSU. So and USF too. So I'm still a fan of those schools.
Perfect. So let's dive back into your electrical needs. You mentioned that you don't need as much electric as a typical facility. Water sounds like you the less water the better, especially around the dry room.
That's great.
And gas requirements. Do you have any special needs in any of those areas?
Nothing really specific. One of the things, though, Eric, that we do, our company is really adamant about is sustainability and maintaining as little carbon footprint as possible within our ecosystem. So if there's obviously sources where the facilities that could actually be higher on the consideration is having access to various different renewable sources of energy. But from a usage standpoint, again, the electrical, again, considering that our platform is significantly reduces the electrical and energy requirements to run the same amount of product, effectively same amount of product as conventional manufacturers. Our usage of these utilities is significantly less. So we're not very limited in that regard, but yeah, we definitely are looking for places where we do have accessibility to various different renewable sources.
Okay, perfect. So a lot of times when communities are engaging with us or you on their site location decisions, sometimes there's a corporate real estate executive or someone else involved. Are there any other parties involved that should be in consideration when the communication flow is going?
At this point, no.
No, not at this point right now.
Okay. And the final question, and then we'll get into our Q&A. In terms of incentives and subsidies, I never, and we always encourage that should never be the decision point on making a decision where you locate, but we have found it to be helpful. We had a project that had a 1 to 5 year plan and a 5 to 10 year plan. They were able to accelerate that and employ more people in year 3 based on some of the incentives they secured and help them get through the startup phase. Are there any, are incentives important to your project?
Well, let me answer that this way. We like to be a socially responsible company. We want to be a kinder, a gentler corporation. And we don't want to go to these communities and try to extract everything out of them. So obviously incentive subsidies are nice. We like to have them too, but not at the huge expense. You know, if you know what I mean by to the local people or the authorities that have to deal with giving those incentives. One of our motivation also is to us go in there and take some incentives to them that by creating jobs and bringing the next generation technology and cleaner technology. So the answer is really a yes and no, depends on where it is, but it's not a deal breaker for us. If there is absolutely no subsidy at all that we can live with, but obviously we need their help to be able to relocate there, and whatever help they can provide, we welcome that. But we can talk about the detail of those, depends on where they are and who we end up talking to.
Very well put. I love that. Let's go to our live Q&A. We've got a couple of communities that have put some questions in. If you have any other questions, go ahead and start filtering them in. And the first one is Cindy Wallace. She is an outstanding member of our elite city. She's in Liberal, Kansas. And she has a 167,000 square foot building. It's got 13 acres. And her question is that too small with the 200,000 square foot parameter? What's the delta? up or down on that you guys would be willing to look at?
As long as there's room for expansion, we could start with something that size too, and just be able to expand from there. That should still be okay. So
Okay.
within plus minus 20-25%, it's okay.
Perfect. Next question is from Rick Clifton. Hey, Rick. He is also one of our recognized elite cities. He's in Southern Alabama. If you can't find an existing facility in a suitable site, would you consider a build-to-suit? Is your time frame? I know your time frame's so compressed, but is your time to market also compressed that you couldn't do a build-to-suit, or what's your thoughts or viewpoints on that?
Yeah, the 3 months window is a little bit tight for build to suit, but again, we can never say no, or we can never say never. We can certainly look at that situation on its own too, if that presents itself. So I wouldn't say no, right out, but it is tight for 3 months window, but it can be workable. Depends on what other motivations are in there.
Perfect.
I know, just since you mentioned Alabama, I know there are a lot of automotive guys in state of Alabama. So that in itself, it's a great incentive for us to be around those people in that ecosystem, because our products, one of the target markets is electric vehicle. And then I know there's some people have talked about building factories there too. So we don't mind being there.
Robert, your question's kind of unique. If you can raise your hand, I'm going to try to open your mic and allow you to ask your question. All right, Robert, go ahead and ask your question.
He needs to unmute.
There you go.
I believe the project was stated as a project 3D print. Is that correct?
Robert, you kind of jumped in and out there. Go ahead and ask it again.
The name of the project is Project 3D Print, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
What aspects of 3D printing will be involved in your factory?
Get it. Yeah, the question is, where does 3D printing, because of the code name, where does that fit into the whole manufacturing process? If you could kind of explain that a little more in depth.
Yes, I get it. So as I tried to explain in the beginning, our 3D printing is not anything like a typical 3D printing you may be familiar with. Most 3D printing companies are just build objects, right? Parts and things that then later have to be put together for some specific use or application. Our 3D printing, it's a complete, think of it this way, it's a complete factory inside a 20 feet machine. There you can build everything from raw material all the way to the end product. So it's a different kind of 3D printing. We call it additive manufacturing 3D printing. Does that answer your question?
So just to elaborate on that a little bit, it's effectively the whole manufacturing process is through our printer.
Perfect. Robert, does that answer your question?
So it sounds like one aspect uses additive manufacturing, but there are other processes within this machine that put out a finished product. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is the unique feature of our machine. We are able to basically bring in whatever depositioning method for manufacturing, for printing is needed. That's what's unique about it. So yes, we call it a multi-material, multi-process machine.
Robert, that's a great question. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
The next question is from Jillian Bowen, and Jillian is from Peachtree, another alliance or elite cities of ours down in the Georgia area. If the deal structure is favorable, would the company consider build to suit on a GRAD certified select site? And I kind of want to expand on this because I know you were talking about the time frame, and if I understood you earlier, what I was kind of asking, you have 1 to 3 months to make a site selection decision, and then you have some time to get to market, or do you have, or your goal is to be at market and going and building your business in this short time frame?
Yeah, so the getting to market in some level of high volume manufacturing, we're looking at 2023. So there could be time to do something, but remember, we're not looking, this 200,000 square feet is just the beginning. It's just what we call our first, call it the first gigafactory, right? 1 gig. But we're anticipate that we're going to build multiple of that. And so, yes, then build to suit becomes, actually, it could be our main alternative later. But after the first one, we may consider going somewhere that is a little bit, it's there already, ready for us to just move in and maybe make some tenant improvements to get it ready. But longer term, the build to suit is definitely something we're looking at, because we will need a unique, complex environment that we need to build.
Okay, perfect. I think that helps a lot better in terms of kind of when they're looking at their portfolio of options, whether or not they're sites or whether they're buildings. So that's great. Next question is from Sean Wilcock. He's from Imperial Valley out in California. Sean, thank you for coming on board. You're an excellent elite city of ours. And his question is, putting a little plug here, home of Lithium Valley. Can the energy load and water demand be defined? Do you have any specifics on the energy and water? And that could play a role in some of these communities. Do you see it as any kind of significance that they would have to take it into consideration?
Yeah, so we still have to complete the full planning phase of the facility and the requirements, but yeah,
Send it to you.
we can definitely send that over to yourself, Eric, yourself and Ashley, and you guys can transfer that over to the individuals once the planning phase is complete. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But as of right now, again, preliminary studies that we've done, there isn't any significant energy requirements that's beyond the standard factory. In fact, ours is going to be significantly less, considering the platform that we have.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I'm glad you mentioned that. As we develop more details, or anytime throughout this entire process, we provide those updates into the project portal. So people that are interested and submit on the project, put it in their pipeline, they receive these live updates. So we'll be excited to get that information and put that into the portal for you. I've got another question from Rick Clifton in South Alabama, talking about robotics. How will robotics play a role in the project? And they're currently working with ARM Institute to advance robotics throughout industries. So partnering with their college is kind of what he's talking about, if it's an important part of your process.
It is actually. It is one of the, again, differentiators in our platform, in our machine, robotics and full automation inside that machine that I think another gentleman was asking about is a key part of our inventions and the machine that we're putting together. So that is, there's a lot of that robotics and automation inside the machine that allows it to do the things that we're able to do. The answer is absolutely yes. Yeah. And it's
Perfect.
great to hear that ARM is there.
Perfect. And Cindy's got another question from Liberal, Kansas. That's actually not a question. I can answer that for you, Cindy. It's not similar. We're working with another project from overseas that 3D prints houses. So they got a big concrete 3D printer. So nothing like that.
Although we just have to make it a much bigger machine.
We've got a question coming in from Patrick Amalia. Patrick asks, several times the CEO and VP have brought up that they want to be close to a port to bring in materials. It's a great question. What kind of materials and chemicals, rare earths are necessary in the inputs? And probably one step further, what countries are you importing products from? And Patrick is from the Cleveland area.
Oh, okay. Well, let me preface answering the question this way. First of all, another element of motivations for us building this machine is that we don't want to go out and import a lot of chemicals or materials, certainly from outside the United States. We like to be able to do everything, any procurement, any material that we can do here, at least nationwide or locally, wherever we are, as close as possible to wherever we are. And then, of course, the material, everything we get is going to be in powder form. There's a lot of ceramic material involved. There's a lot of, I can't tell you, obviously, the detail, because it's part of it is obviously confidential and part of our trade secrets. But the materials are they're accessible, they're available in abundance. So we're not looking for any rare material. So we know at least that everything that we need can be procured in the United States. I mean, that's a wide area, but we don't have to go outside of the United States.
Right. Excellent.
Does that answer the question?
I believe so. Jillian, I'm going to have you raise your hand if you can. You've kind of got a statement there, and you might want to get that into a question form. Jillian's from the Peachtree, Georgia area, one of our elite cities.
She's on mute.
There you go. Jillian. Jillian, we've got you. Well, I'll just we should put Georgia ready for accelerated development, GRAD. So I think she may have been, I don't know if she had a question around that or not. We'll circle back to you, Jillian, if you have a question around that. Cindy, again, asks, she was just talking about similar technology to 3D printing that builds houses. So a little bit, I think there's more steps involved from start to finish in it, Cindy, versus just straight. Their process uses the 3D printer in concrete and then pours the house or prints the house, if you will. Mary Lily, how will you bring in your raw materials and powders, rail or truck? And is closed barge possible?
Actually, all of them, yeah. Quite honestly, on land, rail and truck is definitely an option for us, and we would rather go that route from a cost and sustainability standpoint. And barge for anything waterbound is definitely usable as well. Yeah, we're not limited in that regard.
And Mary's from the North Carolina area. We've got Jessica Lynn Robles. Are you considering using solar and contributing to the carbon footprint of this facility?
Yes, absolutely. So that is one of the major initiatives of our company is sustainability. So the facility having any kind of access for any renewables is definitely very attractive to us.
Awesome. And I know I've visited the area down there. Jessica's from the New Mexico area. And so they're very big on the solar industry.
Yeah, our factory compared to the traditional factory, let's say for battery, for example, it's about 80% more efficient or uses less, 80% less energy and creates less greenhouse gases in the process. So it's a very, very clean environment, the way we do things.
Perfect. Next question's from Eric Montgomery. Hey, Eric, glad to see you here. Last time, Eric and I were working out in Long Beach at a trade show at the Intermodal Expo. So their area is down in the Las Cruces, New Mexico area. He's asking, would you entertain a conversation with Class 1 rail partners to discuss advantages of locations away from seaports?
It's a consideration. Yeah, we can definitely have that conversation. Yeah, I mean, seaport, depending on the once we get into mass production, the volume of materials that we would be running through our factory is going to increase significantly. Obviously, rail can support it as well as sea. But as Robert mentioned, the fact that we can source our raw materials primarily all from the U.S. The accessibility to seaports is not a criteria, is not a requirement. Only in the event that really we would need to source it outside due to limitations of the supply chain. But overall, yeah, rail and so on is definitely desirable as well.
Perfect. Patrick Amalia, if you want, I can unmic you and you can kind of dive into that. I'll circle back to you if you want to raise your hand, and I'll bring you on and we can kind of dive into that topic a little deeper. He's asking about a little more specific about ports. Jillian, that's quite all right. She says her mic was not working. She was not dishing us. So Jessica Lynn, she just put in there Dona from Dona Ana County, New Mexico. She wanted me to make sure the area was designated. Mary Lilly. Okay, this is kind of an interesting question. Are you concerned about micro vibrations that might come from close proximity to a rail track, major airports, or seismic activity?
So in our process, no. We will have the stability that's required to be able to absorb and sustain any kind of micro vibrations that would propagate through the factory. Yeah. It's not a significant consideration of ours.
Okay. Circle back with Robert. Robert is from the Cleveland area. He wanted to add on to his question in the additive in the additive manufacturing process in the machine. Is it metal, polymer, or perhaps both?
Or not more than both.
Plus.
It's plus. It's 3, 4. So we're unique in that sense where we can deal with metal, polymer, and ceramic of all classes, or all, I want to say varieties of metal, ceramic, and polymer, all within the same layer. So again, it's very unique. The answer is yes, all of the above.
Okay. Jillian, she expanded on what she put up there. She says, if the structure is favorable, would company consider build to suit on a grad certified select site?
So we said yes to that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
We had another question come in from Mario. Mario's asking, do you prefer to lease or purchase your building? They've got 195,000 square foot spec with 32-foot ceiling heights. They are in Prince George County. To give you an idea, that's about 90 minutes from Port of Virginia.
Okay. Yeah, we're open to both by the options. We could initially lease, or if there's a possibility to work out a deal where we can own the building, absolutely, we'll look at that too.
Okay. And Mario, we can circle back with you. You're one of our elite cities and get you more specifics if needed on that.
Yeah, in a situation like that, sorry, Eric, if I may just add, in a situation like that, expandability is also sort of one of the criteria there. If we build and buy a property or building, we want to do that in an area where we have room for growth.
Perfect. I do not have any other questions. If you do, kind of throw them in. Those were some great questions, and we thank you for all of those questions. Let's talk about submissions now. We always at this time, we put up a poll that says, you've been listening to this. Are you interested in submitting on Project 3D? That alerts our, what we call community assessment directors to reach out to you and start working with you on the submissions and making sure that they are correct. Looks very favorable. It looks like we're going to have some good submissions on this. The submissions are going to be due in the project portal. Make sure that you go to your account, log in. If you're not an Alliance member, don't fear. You can go in and create a free account and take a look at the project. October 19th is the deadline at 5 p.m. What we will do, we will take all the submissions, we'll vet through them, and then we will prepare them and review those with Project 3D Print. And we will start analyzing, come up with a hit list and a short list of communities. Typically, we'll set up some Zoom calls, or we'll set up some one-on-one calls. And once there's a sufficient interest on their part, we will set up either a road show or some site visits to go take a look at particular sites that are available. The recording links and submission instructions, make sure that your email is whitelisted from brooke.edwards@gslisolutions.com. Sometimes it gets thrown into spam because of Zoom and things like that. But with that said, these are the contacts that you can take a screenshot of or refer back to. Ashley, she works hand in hand with the project team at Project 3D Print. Her number is listed there, 469-778-2606, extension 6. Amanda and Carol are two amazing community assessment directors that work with our communities directly in receiving and evaluating each submission before they go to Ashley and back to the project. So if you need to get in contact with them, there's their contact information. With that said, we are actually right on time, a little ahead of time, 9 minutes. So we're excited and want to thank you guys for taking the time. We know you're busy and you had to change up some things. We're excited about your project, and anytime people are generating jobs and creating jobs for communities, that's a entirely game changer for us, and we truly appreciate that. And the communities, thank you for attending today's Prospect Live. We hope that we've provided good information about an exciting project and allow you enough information to know if it's going to be a good project for your area and you should make a submission. With that said, till our next Prospect Live event, and we might see you out at IEDC in Nashville. It's goodbye, and thank you again for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Eric and Ashley.
Absolutely. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.